Right, this one is speed, density and pressure, as you can see, and this was the last little topic that we had in lesson 8. Now, speed. There are three separate things here that we need to get our heads around. When we're talking about speed, we need to do the speed, the relationship between the speed, the time, and the distance. Now, there is a good way of remembering this, is to write it down in a little triangle and do this, and speed, time, distance. As long as you can remember, what was it? Shush, don't talk or something. Shush, don't talk. Yeah. Or other ways you can remember it. And this tells you what to do. So say the d is the distance. The distance equals the bottom two timed together. So the speed times the time. Now if you want to know the speed, it equals the distance divided by the time. And if you want to know the time, it's the distance divided by the speed. So you just go round the little triangle. Yeah. So distance, speed, time, speed, distance, time. Time is distance, speed. You don't have to remember them as long as you can remember the triangle. So what's this all about? So Billy goes from, I don't know, Leeds to Liverpool. And it's 75 miles is the distance. And he's going to go at 60 miles per hour. We've got to find the time. Yeah, we know the distance, we know the speed, find the time. So we need one of these with time. Time is distance over speed. So the time is the distance, which is 75, divided by the speed, which is 60. I'm going to use a calculator to do that. Is 1.25, and what's the units? 1.25 is hours, isn't it? Because we've got miles per hour, so it's hours. Now we need that's not 1 hour 25 minutes. We need to do what? Find out what 0.25 of an hour is. So to do that, we just do 60, because there are 60 minutes in an hour, times 0.25, which equals 15 minutes. So the answer is 1 hour 15 minutes. Yeah. And the combination can be anything. It can be Billy goes from Leeds to Liverpool at 30 miles an hour and it takes him 4 hours. So what's the distance? So you could just go, oh, the distance is the speed times the time. So that's exactly what you need to do for that one. And the next bit was pressure. Now pressure is the amount of force that is acted upon an area. So the pressure equals the force on an area. Because if you imagine you had a greater force over the same area, you'd have a greater pressure. If the area was smaller, there would be greater pressure. If the area was bigger, there would be less pressure. So the force is sometimes measured in newtons, or it's kilograms. Yeah, it's just the weight over the area. So let's have a work at one of these. Yeah, so you've got don't know whether we'll do that one, because okay, so there's a barrel, a barrel which is a cylinder. See, these get a bit more complicated because there are other things to do as well. A barrel has a weight of 200 newtons, yeah, and the radius of the circumference. And we want to know what the pressure is. Now the radius of the barrel is 0.4 meters. So we've got this sort of thing going on. There's our barrel, and the radius is that little bit, so that bit is 0.4. So what we have to do first is we have to find out the area of the bottom of the barrel. Now the area is one of those we touched earlier, is pi r squared. Now pi, there's a button on your calculator which I use for pi. Pi is a Greek letter which determines the ratio of the diameter of a circle, which is all the way across, to its circumference, and it's around about 3.14. It's about 3 and a bit. So if I just use pi equals 3.14 for now, yeah. So this is going to equal 3.14 times the radius is 0.4 squared. So let's work out what that is. So 3.14 times 0.4 squared is 0.5024. Right, so now I've got the area, I've got this bit, yeah? Yes. So the force is 200, so now the pressure is going to be 200 divided by 0.504. 5024, sorry, 5024. Let's come down there. Right, okay, so 200 divided by what that is equal to 398.09. That is to 2 decimal places. And what is the unit of this? Well, it's going to be newtons per meter square. That's pressure. Pressure, how to work out pressures. Usually there's a little thing beforehand where you've got to work out the area of something, but pressure is force over area. And I suppose you could make one of these triangles again, where pressure is the force divided by the area, yeah, or the mass divided by the area, because sometimes this is given in kilograms. So you can have that PFA, PAF, APF, whichever way around. Right, so pressure, and the third one of these was density. Now the density is equal to the mass, now we're back to kilograms, yeah, divided by the volume. So the density is how much material you can squeeze into a certain volume. The more you can squeeze in, yeah, the bigger the mass will be, therefore the denser. It's like a block of wood compared to a block of steel that is exactly the same size. The steel will weigh more than the wood, and therefore it's more dense. So let's have a look at this then. So we've got a chocolate bar. We want to find the density of a chocolate bar, yeah? Now, has a density, so it's a bit backwards this one, a density of 1.3 grams per centimeters cubed. Now, if you can't remember the formula, density equals mass over volume, it's here in the question. 1.3 is the density, equals grams, mass divided by volume. Yeah, so the formula is there for you, so you don't need to worry too much. You can pick out the formula from the question. Now, the volume of this little chocolate bar is 1800 centimeters cubed. What is the mass? What is the mass? Right, okay, so the mass there is the kilograms. So let's make a little triangle out of this. See whether we can work out what to do. So the density is the mass. The density is the mass divided by the volume. Right, so we want to work out the mass. So the mass is the density times the volume. Oh, good. So the mass is the density, which is 1.3, times the volume, which is 1800. So 1.3 times 1800 is 2340. Is 2340 grams. They may want you to do an extra little bit and just put 2.34 kilograms. Yeah, so they may want you to do extra bits. So try to remember that, or remember the triangle, or pick out the formula from the question. And it's just one thing equals this times that, or volume is mass divided by that, density is mass divided by volume, that sort of thing. Okay, so that was what we managed to do for lesson 8.